Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is an electronic dark pop duo from Toronto, Canada, another Canadian band. And they've been creating music since 2012, and it's absolutely amazing. Please welcome Tom and Gary. Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going? Hi there.
Now, you guys, like I said, have been creating music since 2012. And I like that it says that you draw on influences such as Depeche Mode, MGMT, and The Doors. You can hear that in your music, especially Depeche Mode.
Yeah, I mean, well, Depeche Mode are, they're the typical sort of synth pop band, synth rock, synth pop. So a lot of what we do is definitely sort of is a satellite around their core sound. And Depeche Mode have definitely been a guide for us in terms of, what we can do electronic music and how we can sort of write music through the medium of electronic music. So yeah, Depeche Mode are a big influence on our songwriting.
Yeah, you can definitely hear it. Okay, so I'm talking to Gary right now, right?
That's correct. Gary here.
Where are you from originally? Are you from Toronto?
So I came over from Ireland to Toronto in 2011.
I can hear the accent. That's why I asked. I was like, wait, that doesn't sound like he's from Toronto. That's cool. My sister-in-law is Irish, so I'm Scottish, which is amazing because we get along great.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your electronic sound because it's very prevalent, obviously, in your music. What decided you to go this route for a genre?
This is Tom talking. We decided to go more electronic just because we didn't want to find more members for our band, and we were very new to it, but we discovered we can do a lot with very little, and that appealed a lot to us.
Well, you've built up quite a reputation for not just your music, but your live performances. You have edgy songs that tear apart typical pop arrangements, and you balance dark synths with bright thumping beats. Now, when I listen to your music, there's two things that your music does. It obviously makes me want to get up and dance, but it also kind of takes me away. I can't even describe it. It's like, when you can go to YouTube and you get those things where you find them where you can relax and they kind of make you feel floaty. That's how your music also makes me feel, if that makes sense. It kind of just takes you away, and it's really nice, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's a big compliment because that's exactly what we're going for. I mean, we are electronic music, okay? So a lot of the time, try to transcend that as much as possible. So even for our live set, we're not just behind a bunch of keyboards in a stationary position. Like we got a guitar so I could go out and jump to the crowd and, give that sort of engagement that I think a lot of bands that aren't in that rock and roll sort of aspect, it's kind of hard to do, Mm-hmm. And as a singer who also plays, it's good to to really address the crowd and to give it sauce, but at the same time, not just be about getting people riled up, but also to kind of fill our songs with lyrics and themes that are multi-layered and mean something.
Yeah, and they do. Like I say, especially, well, I'll talk about the songs. You're going to announce what they are anyway. Hummingbird. It really, it relaxes me, and it takes me away from, my surroundings. And I love that because it's so relaxing, which I didn't expect, to be completely honest. Like you said, with electronic music, you think all it is, just crazy, get up and dance, but yours is it's both. It mixes both really well. Now, you released your debut EP, Thousand Million Things, in 2015. And in March, you released your full-length album, Dreamless Sleep.
Yeah.
And you also launched the album to a sold-out crowd at Toronto's Junction City Music Hall.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun. That's not a small venue.
It's right at the junction west of Toronto. It's kind of like a basement venue, but it's probably we tend to play there quite a lot because it's actually it is a great venue. Like the people who run it and own it are fantastic, but it's got a really sort of great vibe, and that kind of place allows us to go in and set up. Like we put a full laser show in there with smoke and all sorts of sort of special effects, and we packed that place out. We're pretty happy about that. We did great in our merch, you know. It was a wonderful launch, and it was probably one of our highlights of last year, one of the best gigs we did. So it was a great start to our album launch for sure.
Well, no kidding, and I want to come see your show now. Now, you also have earned praise from fans and critics. Like, let's talk about Alan Cross. That is a huge accolade to be mentioned by Alan Cross, and it's been charting all across radio, college radio, since its release. And Alan Cross also played it on his radio program on Toronto's 102.1 The Edge.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. I think when we first launched it, you know, we just did a full promotional campaign. We made sure that you know, with your first debut album, you want to put your best foot forward. So you know, we threw everything in the kitchen sink, and you know, the album ended up getting out all across Canada and even international in the States, Australia, Ireland, England, France, even around Europe. So it got out there. We were hearing it on different radio stations across the world. But it's kind of nice when it's close to home in terms of Alan Cross, who's this, like he's a musical historian. You know, he's well versed in everything music, and he's the kind of voice that you want to hear say something positive about your music, and he quite liked Hummingbird.
Oh, see, I have a good taste.
That's the song he picked up. Yeah, and that was our single. And it was our first single off that album. So that was great when we first heard that, and then he put it up and he played us live as well. And it's amazing because we had people texting us and calling us that evening. We didn't know he played us, going, I can hear you guys on the Edge. What's going on? And we got that a few times from different stations, CBC and stations back home in Ireland and whatnot. People were like texting us, you guys are on the radio. And then college radio seemed to pick it up. They went for that pretty well. Like we had a good 5-6 week run where we were in the top 10 in some universities. So that was, it's good because it's kind of like it's not a fluke. You know that you've done at least something right. So that was a great testament to all the work we put into that album.
Yeah, well, you are doing a lot right, and like you were on CBC Radio and Sirius XM. Now, you also won the Best Electronic Artist Award at the Toronto Independent Music Awards 2017. Congratulations!
Thank you very much.
What was that like?
It was amazing to have even been nominated, and we were super excited to have won. Unfortunately, we had a gig that same night, so we had some close friends of ours attend for us and text us all the updates.
Oh, wow.
We double booked ourselves.
I know what that feels like. That's too bad. That would have been. That would have been
playing a show in Oshawa that evening.
Ah, Oshawa. That's where my brother-in-law lives. Small world. I love that you're Canadian, and I love that you're doing something different. And what I mean is your music. I have artists on every day, and well, just about every day. And I'm also listening to music every day. And your music was just fresh and new and different, and I fell in love with it. So wanting you on my show was just a given. Now, you guys have been doing this. Okay, so Gary, how long have you been doing music?
Well, being the oldest member in the band, I've been doing music since 1993. And I was in my first band in 1996. So I guess I've been doing it over 20 years. And I suppose when I came over then to Toronto, I came in November 2011, and by February 2012, I had met Tom. And from there on, I was in this new band. So I came up with the intention of starting a new band.
Wow.
So Canada has such a great reputation in terms of indie music that got out there. For me, like Broken Social Scene were or that was that beacon for me. That I was a big fan of those. So here then come out Boards of Canada as well, and electronic like that. So I had been aware of it. And Toronto, I remember I saw, what's that? I can't remember the movie now. It's based on a comic book. And it was all based in Toronto. It was based on a video game. Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
You're
I remember
asking
I saw it in the theater, and I was like, oh, that's the city I'm going to. And it was such rich music, because I had a lot of, like, Metric had written one of the songs for it. I was just getting into Metric at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very excited. So I came with that sort of high expectation. And so when I came over then, I had met Tom. We both played Australian rules football. And that's how we actually met.
Oh, okay.
And I kicked the ball to this big 6'2" guy, and then I was like, "Hey," and just we got talking. He said, "You're from Ireland, whatever." And one of the first things I asked was, "Do you play guitar?" And he said he did, and that was it. He was my new band member. So
wow, well that's cool. And yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Metric, because they're amazing and Canadian. Now, Tom, how long have you been doing this?
Well, I guess officially, Honeybeard is my first kind of official working band that I've been in. I've been playing music kind of recreationally for myself pretty much my entire life. All kind of, and then just doing it for fun, kind of just really for nobody but myself. And then Gary asked if I played any instruments, and I played a few, and we got going from there. We actually started as a folk duo, and we have a bunch of probably really bad folk songs we wrote when we started. And then we decided we'd try it. A lot of our sound is actually, a lot of the reason we got into the electronic stuff was because of the Drive soundtrack, the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling. I guess another Canadian reference right there.
Mm-hmm, yes.
We both loved that soundtrack. I'm like, I wonder how hard that would be. And that's when we got into trying to figure out how to do it with kind of synthesizers and drum machines and making it work that way. It totally shifted what we were planning on doing. And
wow.
Yeah, luckily Gary had the working band experience to know how to get us gigs and get us started, and we went from there.
And the rest is history. Well, thank you, Drive, and thank you, Ryan Gosling. I could say his name 20 million times a day, by the way. Anyway, now, because you guys have both been doing it for a while, now as a band, and, you know, both with different experiences, what would each of you give, like, if you had advice to give a new artist that was starting out today, what kind of advice do you think you'd give them?
Oh, so much advice. Well, that's actually a very good question. And I've heard you ask other fans this question. And a lot of what they say is, you know, never give up, keep doing it, keep doing it. But I think when people say that, I think the first thing you have to be honest with yourself. Are you passionate about what you're doing? That's really the first question you ask. Because it's never going to go wrong. Like, we're doing well, but, like, you know, with every success, we've got two setbacks. So it's really about how you deal with all those setbacks and how slow things can go. And it's frustrating, but if you're passionate about what you want to do, that passion will bring you through. But you have to be honest with yourself. And this is what I want, and I'm going to pursue it. So me and Tom, we've had many conversations going, you know, when things get hard, you know, we didn't get that thing we went for. We didn't turned down by this big blog. We didn't get played by this big DJ, but this other band got played by this big DJ. We think, you know, those kind of things, they can really hit hard, and they can make you question what they're doing. But if you're honest with yourself and your bandmate, and we said, yeah, look, we're just going to keep doing this. We're going to just keep doing this because we want it. We love it. So just make sure you feel passionate about it. And then after that, it's all work ethic. Work. And it's all hard work. And I always sometimes put up on Facebook, you know, success is a facade. Every time you look look around at all these other bands, all your sort of peer bands, competitors, all you're ever going to see is how well they're doing. What if, like, and we would do the same to a degree, but you're only going to see the good stuff. There is so much work just to make that one Facebook posting. You know, we succeeded in doing this, we got number one on that, but so much work went behind it. So passion and work ethic, I think, is the most important things you have to have. And that's the advice I would give any young band starting: is work ethic and make sure you have the passion for it.
Well, that's great advice. And Tom,
I would say, for the one thing that's been very useful for us, and I've got to credit Gary because he had the experience coming into Honeybeard, is being professional when you're playing live. You know, like just with your interactions with the guy doing the sound, the people behind the bar, the promoter. If you're professional, you know, if they tell you to get there for 7 and you show up at 6:30 ready to go, it goes a long way on getting booked again. If you're easy to work with, if you're like, for us, that's been huge. Just getting rebooked at places just based on like, oh, they're easy to work with. Let's do it again.
wow, you're the first person that's ever said that. And it makes so much sense because, yeah, if you're hard to work with, why are they going to want you back?
Yeah, a lot of I guess, if you go into it with that kind of the rock and roll kind of attitude of like, things will go on our schedule, doesn't tend to go that way again.
Yeah, unless you're like the Rolling Stones, right? Yeah.
Exactly. You have to earn, I guess, that privilege.
Yeah, well, and then even my advice after that is, because I mentioned the Rolling Stones, don't ever be arrogant. Don't ever lose your humbleness. For the love of God.
Yes.
Now, what 2 songs are we going to hear from you guys? We already talked about one, yeah.
Sleep and Hummingbird.
Yes, Dreamless Sleep and Hummingbird. And people will understand what I'm talking about when they listen to Hummingbird. And then when they listen to Dreamless Sleep, they're going to kind of feel the same way, but they're going to want to probably dance around a little bit. I absolutely, absolutely love your sound. And I can see you guys going way further than you are right now. You say you guys are doing good. I can see you guys doing great. I love the fact that you're a Canadian band and you have this, I don't want to call it a new sound because it's not a new sound, but I mean, the last time I heard music like that was, you know, back in the days of Depeche Mode. So I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing and that you kind of went away from the folk kind of sound. And people can buy your music online. They can also go to your website, which is honeybeardband.com. Before I let you guys go, where did you come up with the name Honeybeard?
I'll let Gary tell that one.
Okay, I'll try to make this short. But so back in 2007, Ireland went through like a big economic collapse. I was in a really good job at the time, and I lost my job. So I really spent about 10 months in this house with like crippling debt and everything falling apart. So all I did, I used to be in a band that just a lot of falsetto music. I was always singing high, my throat was source, but I would find myself waking up, and I'd wake up the next day and honey would actually be stuck because I just let myself go. I had this big beard. And this honey was stuck to my beard. I remember getting my act together at some point, just going, well, this honey beard is kind of just a representation of, you know, how far I've fallen, and, you know, that I just need to wisen up. So it was a strange sort of memory for me, and it represents a low point, but also a high point.
Wow.
That moment.
Wow.
So, yeah, I shaved that beard off, got myself back into a job, and everything changed around. So yeah, that's, I guess we just went with that. So.
Wow, that I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that. I'm very glad that you found yourself, because if you didn't, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now and I wouldn't be able to enjoy your music. So thank you so much. Thank you for finding a job and shaving the beard. Yeah, I have a hard time with full beards, like big beards, because of that reason. But anyway, let's get off the beard subject. I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on the show. anything new happens, you put out new singles, whatever, keep in touch with me. You can always come back on. You can send me your singles. I will put them up on my site and promote the heck out of them. And I am seriously, seriously a fan. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for joining me on Ali's Attic. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprises, or beards for that matter, you will find in my attic. Cheers.